Hey guys, so for today's reading, we're going to be focusing on our focus question here, which says reread page 31 and pages 38 through 39 of Danger Earthquakes. How do the details on page 38 and 39 support the author's points on page 31? So the author's just going to make a point on page 31, and then they're going to give details that support that point on pages 38 and 39. So we're going to have to be kind of flipping back and forth today to do that close read to figure out how to answer this focus question. We're going to start on page 31, and we're going to discuss what the author's point is on page 31. Then as we read on, once we get to 38 and 39, we'll decide how there are details on these pages that help support the author's point that we read about on page 31. So listen up closely to today's videos so that when you get to your Google form later, you'll understand how to answer this focus question. So let's begin on page 31. And let's hear if we can figure out what the author's point is here.
Alaska has more earthquakes than any other state. Alaska has a magnitude 7 quake almost every year. Earthquakes also occur in the central United States. In 1811, an 8+ quake shook the Mississippi Valley. It caused church bells to ring in Boston, nearly 1,000 miles away.
Okay, so those of you who were on the Zoom yesterday remember reading about this, that earthquakes also occur in the central United States. So think about our map of the USA, and right in the center of it, we're saying there are some earthquakes that occur. There was a quake that happened in the Mississippi Valley. I pointed that out yesterday during our Zoom, and then it caused church bells to ring all the way up in Boston, which was miles and miles and miles away. So now keep that in mind. So the main point here is that there are earthquakes that occur in the central United States, meaning in the center of our country. So keep that in mind when we get back to page 38 and 39, because you're going to need to know that. Okay, now we're going to skip ahead to page 34 and read on for today's close read.
Hundreds of buildings were destroyed. Since then, stronger buildings have been erected. These new buildings are much safer.
Okay, on this page we have our vocabulary words. We're going to just briefly touch on them, and then in our next video, we'll write our definitions down for them. Our vocabulary words are the words collapse is the first one. Here we go. The next one is steep is our second vocab word for the day. And the third one is loose. Okay, so as we read, keep in mind, try to figure out what these three words mean. And then in our next video, we'll get our notebooks out and we'll define them in our notebooks.
Some buildings remain standing during a strong earthquake, while others nearby collapse. Building on steep hillsides or on loose soil is dangerous. It's safer to build a house on flat land and solid rock. The safest buildings can bend back and forth without breaking.
Pretty cool to think of a building bending back and forth without collapsing, which is one of our vocab words. I'm pretty sure we've all heard this word before. To collapse just means to fall down. Steep, we're talking about steep hillsides. Steep is like a slope. That's not a gradual slope. It's like a slope that falls sharply. So like this kind of direction would be a steep slope, whereas this direction wouldn't be as steep. And then we have loose, which just means not tightly fixed in place. So if there's loose soil, it means it's kind of crumbly. It's not just packed in place. So on our next video, we'll do the definitions. So in between videos, go get your notebook, write today's date, and then write vocabulary and get ready to take these notes down. All right, see you on the next video.